If you are trying to decide whether to buy a home in Lake Wildwood, California or Lake of the Pines, California, but you're not sure which one to choose, in this video I'm going to compare the two so that you can decide which one is best for you. Lake Wildwood and Lake of the Pines are very similar, but there are a few differences that could be the deciding factor for you, and I'm going to show you a lot of footage in this video, and I do have drone footage of Lake Wildwood and I don't have drone footage of Lake of the Pines just because I don't have it yet, so just keep that in mind when comparing the photos, and let's get right into it. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything about living in Nevada County, California and the surrounding areas like Lake Wildwood and Lake of the Pines, subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so you can stay current on the market here. My name is Cheyenne, and whether you're moving in 3 weeks or 3 months, my partner and I would love to help you. All of our info to call, text, or email is down below. Let's go over location and climate first. Lake Wildwood and Lake of the Pines are both in Nevada County, but Lake Wildwood is in Penn Valley and Lake Wildwood is in Auburn. So let's go over how those locations might affect your decision. Lake Wildwood is 16 minutes to downtown Grass Valley and 20 minutes to downtown Nevada City, and Lake of the Pines is 25 minutes to downtown Grass Valley and 30 minutes to downtown Nevada City. So even though Lake of the Pines is technically in Nevada County, if you want to be closer to the heart of Nevada County, which is Grass Valley and Nevada City, with the shops and restaurants and the Yuba River, then Lake Wildwood might be a better option for you. But if you travel to Auburn or Sacramento regularly, then Lake of the Pines might be a better option for you. Lake Wildwood to downtown Auburn is 45 minutes and to Sacramento is 1 hour and 10 minutes. But Lake of the Pines to downtown Auburn is only 25 minutes and only 1 hour to Sacramento. So that's not a huge difference, but if you're commuting to Sacramento for work daily, then Lake of the Pines would definitely save you on some commute time. For those of you that love to ski, both Lake Wildwood and Lake of the Pines are about the same distance to Lake Tahoe, just from slightly different directions. North Lake Tahoe is about 1.5 hours from either Lake of the Pines or Lake Wildwood, and South Lake Tahoe is about 2.5 hours from either Lake of the Pines or Lake Wildwood. The weather in both Lake of the Pines and Lake Wildwood are both very similar. They're both around 1,500 feet elevation, so very hot in the summer. We can get heat waves that are in the high 90s, sometimes even hotter than that, and that's why you have the lake and the pool in both of those places. And then in winters, they're fairly mild, so rain, not really any snow. Every once in a while you can get a dusting of snow, but it melts very quickly. I do have a friend who's lived in Lake of the Pines for many years, and she said that back in 1990 it did snow over a foot of snow, and it was her wedding day and people couldn't get there to the wedding. So it could happen, but not likely. And then also for both Lake Wildwood and Lake of the Pines, even though there isn't a lot of snow there, just about 20 minutes away you could find quite a lot of snow, because Grass Valley, it does snow a lot, and Nevada City even more. Not a lot out of the year, but just in those few weeks that it does snow, it can snow quite a bit. So as far as amenities, both Lake Wildwood and Lake of the Pines are pretty much the same. They both have a lake where you can swim and boat and kayak and fish, catch and release style, 19-hole golf course and driving range, a pro shop. They both have a pool, and both of the pools overlook the lake. They both have tennis courts, bocce ball, pickleball, kids play structures. They both have a clubhouse restaurant and events and social activities like live music and classes. In Lake Wildwood, the lake is 300 acres and Lake of the Pines, it's 230 acres. One of the main differences is that in Lake Wildwood, the golf course and the lake are pretty much separate, but in Lake of the Pines, they are closer together, so you can be golfing and be very close to the lake. And in Lake Wildwood, the clubhouse restaurant overlooks the golf course, and in Lake of the Pines, the clubhouse restaurant overlooks the lake. Both Lake of the Pines and Lake Wildwood have a strong sense of camaraderie in the golfing community. The times when I go out and show property and show the golf course, I often see just people being really friendly with each other and walking by each other and saying, hey, how was your game? Or afterwards having lunch in the restaurant or sitting at the bar, and just everyone's really social with each other and friendly, and both places just seem like a very nice golfing community. So let's talk about the clubhouse restaurants, because there are a little bit of difference there. Lake of the Pines actually has 2 dining facilities. One is more like a sports lounge with inside and outside seating, and it's overlooking the lake. And then they have a separate restaurant close by that they call a fine dining restaurant. And Lake Wildwood just has one very large restaurant with both indoor and outdoor seating, and that's overlooking the golf course. I wanted to try a meal at both Lake of the Pines and Lake Wildwood so that I could give you a little food review, but I just want to preface that by saying that I don't eat out all that often because I'm kind of a food snob and I eat all organic food, and so I do eat some meat and poultry, but if I'm eating out, I want it to be organic, and that's kind of hard to find. So I did have a meal at Lake of the Pines and at Lake Wildwood. When I ate at Lake of the Pines, I ate at the sports lounge because the other restaurant is only open on certain evenings during the week, and then the sports lounge is open much more often so that the golfers have a place to have lunch. So there weren't a ton of choices as far as vegetarian options, but I chose the nachos because I love nachos. There was a vegetarian sandwich, but that just wasn't what I was in the mood for. And so I got the nachos, and I have to say that they were terrible. The cheese was that American Velveeta tasting type of cheese, so I did not like that at all. And then the black beans that they put on it, there was just like a few black beans sprinkled on top. So terrible meal, but I will say that a lot of the food looked really good. I saw a lot of the plates coming out. The burgers looked amazing. And I talked to a gentleman there, and he said that he eats lunch there like 3 times a week. And lots of people were having lunch and looking like they were enjoying it. So I probably just got the one item that wasn't very good, but I wanted to be totally transparent about that. And as I said, I wasn't able to go to the other restaurant, the fine dining restaurant in Lake of the Pines, so I'm sure that's a completely different menu. And then I did go to Lake Wildwood for lunch, and I have to say it was amazing. I did order the fish tacos, even though I don't normally eat animal products at restaurants because it's not organic, but there really wasn't a ton of choices for vegetarian. They did have a vegetarian burger, I just didn't want that, and they had a lot of really good salads on the menu, so lots of choices, but I got the fish tacos and the sweet potato french fries, and both were amazing. I absolutely loved it, and all the other food coming out looked amazing as well. Both Lake Wildwood and Lake of the Pines are gated communities, meaning you have to live there to have access to all of the amenities. So you can't just go over there to check it out for the day and see if you like it. So if you'd like a full tour of either or both Lake Wildwood or Lake of the Pines, definitely give me a call. All my contact info is below, and I will give you a full tour. Lake Wildwood actually has 2 guarded gates, and so that is actually kind of a benefit because both Lake Wildwood and Lake of the Pines have a very strict 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, and so having the 2 entrances and exits makes it a little bit easier if you live on the far side of Lake Wildwood and you need to go somewhere. You don't have to drive all the way across Lake Wildwood at 25 miles an hour. You can just exit at whichever exit is closest to you. Let's talk about dogs, because Lake Wildwood and Lake of the Pines do have some differences when it comes to your furry family members. Lake Wildwood does not let any dogs at any of the beaches or any of the parks. There are some green belts where you can bring your dog. I have heard that you can take your dog off leash, but I would need to verify if that's actually true. And there is actually a beautiful hiking trail where you can take your dog on leash and go for a walk there, but there's no dog park in Lake Wildwood. There is a dog park in Penn Valley at Western Gateway Park, so not very far down the road, just downtown Penn Valley, very close. You can find a dog park there. I do often see people walking their dogs in Lake Wildwood just on the side of the road. There is no sidewalk, but sometimes there is some space to walk your dog along the road there. So Lake of the Pines is a little bit more dog friendly. You cannot take your dogs onto the beaches, but you can take your dog onto the grassy park areas, except for there's one really big beach and park in Lake of the Pines, and that's called the main beach, and you cannot take your dog there. But all of the other smaller parks and beaches, you can have your dog on a leash on the grass, just not on the sand. And Lake of the Pines has a dog park, so this is really great. It has a dog park, and it also has a pond in part of the dog park, so your dog, if it likes to jump in the water, this is great. You have a big pond for your dog to get all wet in. Both Lake of the Pines and Lake Wildwood do have rules around fencing, so if you're going to build a dog run or a fenced yard area for your dog or a garden fence, you can do that. You just have to get approval of your fencing plans through each of the associations. At both Lake Wildwood and Lake of the Pines, you will see racks of kayaks at the beaches and parks. Lake of the Pines members rent the space to store their kayak at several of the parks, and there are no kayak rentals and guests cannot bring in kayaks. But Lake Wildwood does have kayak rentals, and you can also store your kayak at the beaches on these racks. Both Lake of the Pines and Lake Wildwood are very strict about boats coming in and out, and there are quarantine periods, so I won't get too much into the weeds on that. But if you have a boat and you're looking to buy a home in either Lake of the Pines or Lake Wildwood, give me a call and I can give you all of the specific details on either Lake of the Pines or Lake Wildwood. If you have school-age children, Lake of the Pines has 3 schools directly across the street. So there is a elementary school, a middle school, and a high school, and they have a gate in Lake of the Pines that they open during the day and lock at night so that your children can walk to and from school. Lake Wildwood does not have a school directly across the street. There are schools in Penn Valley, but you would have to drive to get to them, and there's no high school in Penn Valley. One other minor thing that I do want to mention, I don't think it'll be a deal breaker, but I do want to bring it up, is that Lake Wildwood has put a lot of attention into the landscaping in the common areas. So flowers, shrubs, trees, all beautifully landscaped in the common areas. And also the Clubhouse restaurant in Lake Wildwood is more recently updated and remodeled than the Lake of the Pines restaurant. So the Lake Wildwood restaurant is it's really beautiful. They've put a lot of attention into the design of it, and it just feels a little more fresh and updated. So I have done lots of videos on Lake Wildwood. You can check those out right here. And this is the first one I've done on Lake of the Pines, and I will be doing more. I hope you found this helpful. And if you have any questions, give me a call or leave them in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you over on the next video.